めえの出番だ。ご飯。
The next Dragon Ball fighting game in release order after the 1993 arcade game is Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 2, which in English would be Super Martial Arts Legend 2. Or, if you were in France, the only place this game was released outside of Japan, Dragon Ball Z La Legende Saiyan, the Saiyan Legend. Before anything else, I should bring up the fact that this is the first Dragon Ball video I have done since Akira Toriyama's death earlier this year. I wish I had a lot more to say about this, and of course I was saddened to learn of his passing. But back in March I was still numb from my grandmother's death last December. His death and others like Carl Weathers around that period just washed over me at the time. Had my circumstances been different, this probably would have hit me harder the same way Sean Locks and Rick Mayles did. Maybe one day I'll be able to summon up more to say, but right now I'm not there. But onto the game. I'd had this game on an emulator disc for the original Xbox nearly 20 years ago, and did play it more than most of the other Super Famicom Dragon Ball games, but it would be overshadowed by Hyperdimension back then, which looked like no other Dragon Ball game I'd played. And of course, I'd like to once again put up the disclaimer that I've been a fan exclusively of the Japanese side of Dragon Ball since 2006, and will be using the Japanese names because that is how I know these characters now. I know this is the 4th video and 4th time I've said this, but some people find hearing the correct pronunciation of Saiyan very distressing, so it's best to put up a disclaimer. If you want the context for when in the history of Dragon Ball this was released, it came out on the 17th of December 1993, just 9 months after that first Super Butoden game I hated so much. The day before this game released, the manga had the release of chapter 447, where Babidi has Spopovich and Yamu killed. In the anime, the same day this game was released, Dragon Ball Z episode 207 aired, where Gohan teaches Videl to fly. Film-wise, between the first Super Butoden game and this one, Dragon Ball Z Movie 9, The Galaxy at the Brink of the Super Incredible Guy had been released, and the 10th film that would feature the return of Broly was in the works. Being between these two films and at the start of a new story arc that didn't have enough material for a new game yet, this game occupies a very unique period of time that no other game does. Normally a game of this time would either span the entire DBZ anime up to now, or they would cover an entire single story arc. This one begins with the very end of the Cell arc and then goes into an alternate retelling of Movie 9. There is a story mode, which can only be played as by 4 of the 8 default characters. I'll cover those 4 first, then the story routes I managed to get, then the remaining characters. But first, the basic gameplay. Punch, kick, ki, can charge ki, special moves done with more simplified command inputs like a Mortal Kombat game, plus being able to fight on the ground and in the air with a split screen when both players get far enough apart. It's pretty much Super Butoden 1 in terms of control, but they did this interesting thing where they made it actually good this time. The horrible slowness, clunkiness and unbearable delay between button press and action is gone. Command inputs are actually recognised most of the time here. It's one of the biggest gameplay upgrades I've ever seen in a sequel that released the same year. It also just looks a load better. Everyone's proportions are a lot more accurate after how squat everyone was in the first game. But now onto the cast. My overall thoughts on Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta, Future Trunks and Cell as characters are in my Super Butoden 1 video. The remaining 4 characters are playable for the first time, and so I'll give my thoughts on them as characters here. And so, starting with our game's main character, Son Gohan, in his Super Saiyan 2 state, which also makes its playable debut in this game. He has a dive kick with forward, down and kick in the air, a rapid punch with forward, back, forward and punch, a powered up punch with charge back, forward and punch, the homing blast that looks like a Kamehameha with down, forward and ki, down, back and ki is a triple ki blast, an explosive ki with down, up and ki, back, down, forward and ki is the Masenko. Beam clashes and deflection still exist, but I still haven't figured out the timing. Down, back, forward and ki is the Kamehameha, his strongest beam and most ki draining. There's also the Meteor attack I couldn't pull off with forward, back, down, up and kick, so I had the AI do it for me. Only 2 characters don't have a Meteor attack that ends with up, and one of those is because they don't have a Meteor attack at all. That's my least favourite part of the game, that ending a move's input with up makes it a nightmare to pull off. As for Gohan, he's alright in this game. I'm not a fan of his range with how short his limbs are. I think it's an issue that plagues this entire sub-series of games with the short characters. Basically, dive kicks and ki attacks won me the fights with him. Going up against someone with limbs twice the length of his entire body is just asking for a pasting. but Gohan gets to be the main character. This is the only game where he's the main character. Considering what this game adapts, it makes sense. While this game was in development, it looked like Gohan was going to be the main character of the manga for a long time. The developers wouldn't be able to know how quickly Toriyama would change his mind. I like Gohan's theme in this game. It's this piano song which I feel gets across Gohan's scholarly side, which is something that doesn't tend to appear in games outside of basic trivia. Next up we have Vegeta, who appears in his Super Saiyan Grade 2 form, the first time this form was playable and the only game in which this is the only playable version of him. Down, back, forward, up and kick has him do a diagonal flying kick both ways. Forward, back, forward and kick is an advancing melee combo. Down, forward and punch is a dashing elbow attack. Down, forward and ki is his stolen Kienzan. Down, back and ki is rapid ki blasts. An explosion from the ground with down, up and ki. Back, down, forward and ki performs the Big Bang attack. Down, back, forward and ki is the final flash. His Meteor combo is also done with the same input as Gohan and most of the others. This one I looked out on and pulled it off quite early. Vegeta is good, I'd say. My only real complaints are that I found other characters better and that diagonal flying kick was just a waste of time. Pain in the ass to land and even the dumbest AI was too smart to fall for it. But yeah, as I said, Super Saiyan Grade 2 is his only form in this game. Makes sense, it was his strongest form at the time and the series was still ongoing, so what had been decided upon as the most iconic aspects of the series forever hadn't been set yet. At the time this game was released, Gohan's Super Saiyan 2 hadn't even been given that name yet, and wouldn't until Super Saiyan 3 was introduced. At least one guidebook at a loss to how to categorise that form would refer to it as Super Saiyan Grade 5. Hell, at the time there was no indication Vegeta would get Super Saiyan 2, or anyone apart from Gohan for that matter. It's just one of the many ways that this game is such an interesting time capsule of what Dragon Ball was at that moment in time. I think Vegeta's new theme here is my favourite video game theme of his. The first games comes close, but this was the track that stuck out to me most when I first played this game. Third is Piccolo, a double flying kick with forward, back, forward and kick. He has his own dive kick with forward, down and kick in the air. Charge back, forward and punch is a grab and throw with his stretchy arms. Down, forward and ki is a seeking ki blast. Back, forward and ki are his eye beams. Back, down and ki makes him do his antenna beams. And now for the big ki attacks. Makan Kosapo with back, down, forward and ki. And Gekiretsu Kodan with down, back, forward and ki. His Meteor combo is another I needed the AI to do for me. I enjoyed Piccolo more than the last two characters. His flying kick is as good an AI killer as it was in the first game, and having that, a dive kick and being one of the taller characters meant rage was never an issue. And I'm always glad to see the eye beams as part of his moveset since I feel that is an underused move in the games. There is nothing that stands out about Piccolo's appearance in this game otherwise, he's just Piccolo. He also gets a new theme, and this theme sticks with him through every fighting game to have individual character themes to the end of the PS1 era. It's good, but I've never been in love with this one. I actually prefer his theme from Super Butoden 1 a lot more. I do notice a bit of the James Bond theme in it though, and given Kenji Yamamoto's history of plagiarism, I'm wondering if this one was another case or just a coincidence. As for the last of these story mode characters, we have Future Trunks in his regular Super Saiyan form. He has a long sliding kick with down, forward and kick, an advancing melee combo with down, forward and punch, a seeking ki blast with down, forward and ki, a ki push with charge back, forward and punch, a triple ki blast with down, back and ki, a ground ki wave with back, down and ki. Then for the big ones, burning attack with down, back, forward and ki, and finish buster with down, back, forward and ki. Another Meteor combo with the same input I had the AI do for me. Trunks was one of the favourites to play as. The long slide kick is good for approaching and the melee combo makes him move quite the distance forward. It's just a shame he lost that busted cartwheel from the first game I chewed through the AI with. This is the first game, and first game I've covered, in which he is playable in his outfit with the jacket off. When it happens in the series itself at the very end of the Cell arc, it's a cool novelty, and ditching the cool jacket that made him stand out when he first appeared made him look like he had grown so much from when we first saw him. But outside the novelty, I don't care for the outfit itself. The jacket was the most eye-catching part, so with it gone, there's not much left. It's an outfit that when left out, I don't really notice. He has one of my favourite themes in the game, maybe my overall favourite. Trunks gets a lot of good video game themes. There's a reason this is the only character theme to appear in more than one Super Butoden game. Well, that's the 4 story mode characters covered, so let's actually cover story mode as best I can. Of course, I don't speak Japanese and I could not find a single guide for this mode on the internet. So I tried to get as many different outcomes as possible in my 4 runs, but I can't always tell what's happening, nor can I confidently claim I uncovered every outcome. The game starts with the declaration of the Cell game in 10 days. This is the point where I decide whether I want to play as Gohan, Vegeta, Piccolo or Trunks. So of course we'll start with Gohan and the first chapter starts. We start off with Goku offering a bit of training. I have a choice of sparring between the other 3 main story characters and Goku. For this one I'll go with Goku. You can win or lose the fight, it doesn't matter. Afterwards you have the option of more training or resting for the remaining 10 days. Gohan has some kind of chat with Chi-Chi and we skip ahead to the Cell game. First, Mr. Satan wants his go and we see him get swatted into the cliff. And so it's Goku's turn next. We get to watch an automated fight that always ends with Goku losing. Goku may have lost, but he knows of the one who can defeat Cell, Gohan. I then have to fight Cell myself. After I win the fight, Cell starts self-destructing. Goku teleports Cell to Kaio's planet and Cell explodes, taking them all out but according to the background, leaving the planet intact. And then Cell comes back anyway, and so I have another fight against Cell. If I lost this fight, I get to see Gohan's one-handed Kamehameha, but since I won the fight, Cell's just dead. And so chapter 2 starts. While having a chat with Chi-Chi, Piccolo shows up to warn Gohan that Vegeta is on a rampage and needs stopping. I have 2 choices here, and the first one takes me to a wrecked city, where a survivor is one of those guys who got wrecked by number 19 and number 20, but with green hair now. From there I take the second option and meet Bulma and Baby Trunks at Capsule Corp. I return home and talk to Piccolo. Next option I get, I choose the second one, which has me go to God's Palace and ask Mr. Popo for information I can't read. Piccolo shows up to say something, as does Dende. It turns out the options I chose revealed that Piccolo is a filthy liar and he's the one behind the damage, so I fight him next. After defeating him, Vegeta shows up to let me know that Piccolo is a fake. Gohan's search for the truth has him find the creator of the fake Piccolo in the Snowy Mountains. It's Zangia. That's when we get the part in the film where Kaio fills Goku in on Bojack's gang. This is the game that identifies them as the Hera or Hela clan. It's been commonly used as their species name in fandom, but its only mention is in this game. Piccolo wasn't Zangia's only fake, as she sends a fake Vegeta at me to fight. After defeating this clone, Zangia is forced to flee and life goes back to normal for a bit until chapter 3 starts. Bojack makes his presence in the game known as Zangia reports to him. Dende warns Gohan that they're starting shit again. First another chat with Bulma, then I'm given 4 choices of where to go. I can run into Mr. Satan at the beach, the green-haired survivor now hanging around the mountains, and God's Palace for another chat with Mr. Popo. Here Zangia shows up again. We descend to a forest below for a fight. After defeating her, I have the choice of killing or sparing her. Gohan hates killing, but I can't read Japanese, so my choice makes him kill her anyway. Piccolo and Trunks show up to say something, and I'm next seen confronting Bojack. I take him on and defeat him. Bojack dies, the other main characters show up for more words, and Gohan gets to go home, content with the fact he got to be the main character without any outside interference from the dead this time. Instead, Goku waits until after the fighting is over to appear and I assume praise Gohan's growth. We then get the credits. Vegeta's story next. I'll skim over the details this time as there is some repetition between playthroughs. When given the choice of sparring partner, I move next in the list and fight Gohan. I guess Vegeta is salty he isn't the main character in this game and is trying to usurp Gohan's position. After choosing to rest, he goes home and ignores everyone else. In this version of the events, Goku doesn't fight Cell first, Vegeta gets in before him. But Cell still goes for the self-destruct and Goku is forced to bail him out anyway. When Cell returns, I lose the second fight. With Vegeta having failed, Goku has to telepathically speak with Gohan and have him correct the plot and finish Cell instead. Everyone goes home and chapter 2 starts. Vegeta chats with Bulma and Baby Trunks when future Trunks shows up to say Piccolo is causing a rampage. The choices are the same, and when I speak to Trunks again after, I pick the choice that has me go after Piccolo and beat him down. That's when it's revealed that Piccolo is innocent and Trunks is the evil fake, taking the chance to attack Vegeta. He's so evil, his jacket was secretly black this whole time. Zangia also reveals herself and we get the clan story. I fight and defeat the fake Trunks. Zangia reveals she has more fakes and I have to fight fake Gohan next. Zangia flees into chapter 3. In this one I ignore all of the choices and pick the one I didn't as Gohan. This one has me catch Zangia hiding in a desert. This time I have 2 options before fighting her. The second one has them relocate to the beach for a fight. This time, no option given, Vegeta just kills her on her defeat. Piccolo and Trunks show up and point me to Bojack. I defeat him, Bojack is killed, Vegeta talks to Trunks and goes home to Bulma. Trunks has another talk with him, I assume he's going back to his future. Credits. Piccolo next. This time he spars with Vegeta, presumably for revenge for the undeserved beating he got in the previous playthrough. At this point in time in the series, Piccolo is still homeless, so when he rests he just stays with Dende. Like with Vegeta, the Goku fight is skipped and Cell fights Piccolo first. Cell self-destructs again, he comes back, and I lose again, so Gohan has to bail me out again. Chapter 2 has Gohan visit Piccolo at God's Palace to tell him that Vegeta is rampaging. I take the choices that have me fall for the lie and give Vegeta the first beating of his life that he didn't bring on himself. Gohan is fake, Zangia appears, defeat fake Gohan, defeat fake Trunks, Zangia flees, Chapter 3. This time my options have me running to Dr. Brief at Capsule Corp, Kuririn at Kame House, then the already met Popo and Satan before I meet Zangia of Desert again. This time I choose to keep the fight at the desert. Zangia is killed, then beat Bojack and kill him. Piccolo goes back home and Mr. Satan gets credit for defeating Bojack's gang. Credits. And finally, Trunks. I have him train with Piccolo. Like Vegeta, he rests at Capsule Corp. This time, Goku gets to fight Cell first and still loses. Goku may have lost, but he knows of the one who can defeat Cell, Trunks. The rest of the Cell game goes as usual, with me beating Cell in the second fight this time. Chapter 2 has Vegeta tell me Piccolo is rampaging. I once again fall for the lies and defeat Piccolo, have Zangia show up, defeat fake Vegeta and fake Gohan, then go into Chapter 3. I visit Dr. Brief, Kuririn, Mr. Popo, an empty glacier, Mr. Satan, a destroyed city, the beach, then find Zangia in the desert. Defeat her and then choose the second option to spare her life so that she flees again. I then get led to Bojack, but Zangia wants to have another go, so I defeat her again. And after that, Bojack. After everyone gets their words in, the surviving Zangia says something to me. She tries to sneak a kill on Trunks only for Vegeta to block the attack. The pissed off Trunks then actually kills Zangia. Vegeta survived though, and everyone's happy. But the choices I made in this run, and not having lost a single fight, have Trunks discover another destroyed city and receive a warning from the afterlife from Goku. This results in the appearance of Fuckface for one last secret battle. I win. Trunks kills him and I get the voice cast credits with more triumphant music than the regular credits. I also gain part of a cheat code, the other 3 parts for getting this ending with the other characters. But internet, so it doesn't matter. It's an interesting story mode, allowing multiple routes and other characters the chance to take centre stage, but I would enjoy it a lot more if I could understand it though. There is an old English translation patch, but it wouldn't help, it's pretty much incomprehensible. Now let's move on to the other half of the default cast, starting with Perfect Cell. He has an explosive Ki with forward, back, forward and kick, an advancing melee combo with down, forward and punch that ends with an upwards flying kick, a sliding kick followed by another kick with down, forward and kick, the Taioken with down, up and ki, rapid ki blast with down, back and ki, death beam with back, forward and ki. As for the big supers, a regular Kamehameha with back, down, forward and ki, and a super Kamehameha with down, back, forward and ki. His Meteor combo doesn't use up for once, it's charge forward, back and punch. Cell's good. Having the slide kick move, a quick finger beam, the stun with Taioken and a Meteor that doesn't use that evil input helps. His melee combo ending with that jumping kick bothers me though because it makes it feel more awkward to land than it should. As for Cell within this game, like Piccolo, it's nothing special or unique, it's just Cell. Cell's theme though is one of the more famous examples of Kenji Yamamoto's plagiarism, definitely the most well known of the pre-Budokai games. The intro is taken pretty much directly from Pink Floyd's One of These Days. And next is a character that, as far as I'm aware, doesn't even show up in story mode, Cell Jr., making his first playable appearance. He has a dive kick that goes into a combo with a jumping kick with forward, down and kick in the air. He has a triangular moving kick combo with down, back, up, forward and kick. Charge back, forward and kick is a 2-kick combo. Forward, back, forward and kick is a reverse dive kick. Back, forward and ki is a death beam. Kienzan with down, forward and ki. Rapid ki blast with down, back and ki. Then the beam supers are the Makanko Po with back, down, forward and ki, and the Kamehameha with down, back, forward and ki. He has no Meteor combo. He also likes his own theme. Cell Jr. is probably my least favourite character to play as in this game. He has the range issues I mentioned as Gohan, but worse because he's even smaller. So many of those kicking attacks are dodgy for me to land, with all the movement and the precise positioning needed for some of them. The regular dive kick doesn't even work as a dive kick thanks to the combo starting once you hit the ground. Cell Jr.'s presence on the roster is definitely down to its recency at the time more than anything else, which is what makes it strange that it has no appearance in story mode, its fights are just skipped over completely. Secret characters appear in story, but this one doesn't. It does make me wonder, given the focus on Movie 9, if they wanted a short character, why they didn't just put Bujin in instead. Especially in hindsight, as Cell Jr. will be playable in many games in the future, while Bujin has never been playable in a fighting game. As for the character, Cell Jr. is one of those things that has become so normalised from how long I've been into Dragon Ball that I forget how unexpected it was when they first appeared. Cell stopped using his tail after he reached his perfect form, and even before that we only ever saw stuff go in, not come out. And we had just watched number 16 get blown to bits, reduced to just a head. So Cell gives birth to 7 blue miniature clones from his arse was the furthest guess from my mind as to what would happen next. Gohan killing them all in the anime is also very memorable to me because it was the first time I ever noticed an actual mistake in a TV show I was watching as a kid. I was never one to look out for that kind of thing, and the idea that there could be mistakes was never a concept that entered my mind. So when Gohan managed to kill 8 out of 7 Cell Juniors, it messed with me. I convinced myself I had to have made a mistake. First I assumed I miscounted. Then on the repeat the next day, I made myself believe that Gohan simply cut one of the Cell Juniors in half and then finished the rest of him off at the end to explain how there could be 8 explosions into dust. It makes no sense, but it was the best my 8-year-old brain could do to explain it. Also, got to give a special mention to their deaths in the manga for how brutal and gory they are. Up there with number 20 squeezing that guy's neck so hard his head snaps off from the same arc. Others beat it from a horror perspective, but I think this one wins when it comes to pure gore alone. Next up is Zanga, also making her first playable appearance. She has a sliding kick to a reverse elbow with forward, back, forward and kick, a punching combo that ends with a jumping uppercut and dive kick with down, forward and punch, a kicking combo with down, forward and kick, a finger beam with back, forward and key, back, down and key is a ground key wave, a triple key blast spread with down, back and key, for a beam supers a basic laser with back, down, forward and key, and a rip-off of Jesus Crusher Ball with down, back, forward and key. She has 2 meteor combos, a somersault attack with back, down, forward and kick, and another with the usual arsehole input. Zangya is a lot of fun. My preferred moves are the melee combos, and she has a few that are quite easy to land and look quite stylish. She even has another meteor that isn't a pain to make happen. She does have my least favourite theme music in the game though. It just doesn't feel that memorable or that fitting for a fighting game. So Zangya is a kind of character that Dragon Ball has a lot of. A character that is nothing special within the series itself, but are perfect for fighting game rosters. You know, your King Coles, your Nails. Now, I love Movie 9, it's one of my favourites, but all of the Movie 9 villains, Zangya included, are a load of cardboard cutouts, even by the standards of 90s Dragon Ball film villains. But what they all have going for them are fantastic visual designs. The blue skin with the orange hair, and the clothes they wear and the colours of those clothes, there isn't a stinker among them, at first. So she stands out when she's included on the roster. What also helps her out a lot at this point is that when this game was in development, it was just her and number 18. Those two were the only female fighters who had the same capabilities as the rest of the cast. Videl wouldn't have existed when this game started development. Those who came before can't fly or use ki blasts, so would need extra effort to fit in that was clearly beyond the budget and scope of this game. Some might ask, what about Celeper? But if even Bardock won't get into a game for another 11 years, the minor character who has maybe one speaking line and isn't shown fighting wouldn't even come to mind back then. And with number 18 not on the roster and pretty much no longer considered a villain, Zangya was the only female villain Dragon Ball had available. It's no wonder she's the only one of Bojack's henchmen to ever become playable in a fighting game. Although this video is set to go up the day after Sparking Zero is released, so watch an entire surprise Movie 9 DLC pack get announced with all of them to outdate this thing before it's even out. So yeah, while I am happy whenever she appears in a game, the actual character herself isn't very interesting. I will say her death has always bothered me. After Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2 and kills Beidou and Bujin in a single hit each, Bojack just blasts her towards Gohan for no reason. In Universe, I don't get the point since it didn't accomplish anything really, nor did it seem like Bojack was trying to accomplish anything. But of course the reasons are probably based more out of the universe. They didn't want the hero to be shown killing a woman, even one that had already killed people herself and was gladly about to take part in mass murder. Actually, I think even that explanation is a little too kind. My theory is more cynical than that. I think they didn't want to show the hero killing the hot one. You can imagine it, can't you? Guys in the 30s and 40s in the 90s going, "But she's so hot, Gohan can't kill her." So they concoct this dumb little scene to get her killed without making the hero do it. And all it did was add an extra half a minute or so to this video by making me want to talk about it. Well, that's all for Zangya, so let's move on to her boss and the game's main villain, Bojack in his transformed state. He has a slide kick followed by a dive kick with forward, back, forward and kick. A rear back and then sliding knee with down, forward and punch. Back, forward and key is a finger beam powerful enough to knock the opponent down. a ground key wave with back down and key, a red key ball with down back and key. His beam supers are a two-handed blast with back down forward and key, and the same thing but stronger with down back forward and key. He says something when he fires these, but the audio quality makes it a bit hard to make out. Like Zangia, he has two meteors, one with down back, up forward and kick, and one with the input I hate. That one I couldn't even get footage of. Bojack's fun, good for smacking people around with. Being so tall means he gets good range on his normal attacks too. I like Trunks and Zangia more though. His theme is also fitting for a final boss figure, the beginning is suitably grand sounding. Bojack himself as a character is just nothing though. Like I said with Zangia, the villains in that film are cardboard cutouts. What makes this worse for Bojack is that the upside I mentioned with Zangia with the visual design doesn't apply in this game. Bojack does have a great design, but instead they made his shitty transformation the playable one. The clothes are gone, leaving just generic black trousers. They made his skin green for the ugliest combination of green and orange for his hair. I don't hate Bojack, or even dislike him, I just don't think about him outside the film. I do wonder if he's the reason Broly made 2 repeat appearances. Takao Koyama, the guy in charge of the films, said he struggled to think of the follow-up to Broly, but he only came out with Bojack before going right back to Broly next film. And even as someone who hates Broly unhealthily, I will say that Bojack does not come across as threatening as Broly did in the prior film. So he made Bojack, then panicked and went straight back to Broly. There must be some nostalgia for him though, as he's one of the more recurring movie villains in the fighting games. He's not Broly or Cooler level, but he's been in more than the likes of Gallic Jr., Tullus, Slug or Number 13. Actually, he's in every roster those 4 characters are also in, with the sole exception of Tullus being in Zenkai Battle Royale. But that's the default roster. I also just want to do a quick stage rundown. You have the most basic of basic Dragon Ball arenas, a grassy wasteland, a rocky wasteland, and the Tenkaichi Budokai arena. Past that we have a generic forest, a cliff overlooking a city. The desert is a cool one with that sandstorm, as is the snowy stage. I also like the one that takes place over the sea, with the ground being underwater. And you have variants of these stages at different times of day with different weather effects, like falling snow on the snowy stage. A pretty decent set for the time. What is weird is that in Versus, you can freely select your stage and the music that plays, but you cannot freely select your opponent in single player as far as I'm aware. What's that about? But now it's time for the 2 secret characters. While Gohan flies towards God's Palace in the opening, press up, X, down, B, L, Y, R, A, and you'll hear Broly say Kakaroto. This unlocks Son Goku and Broly as playable characters. Starting with Goku, who is playable as a Super Saiyan. Back, down, forward and kick is a series of spinning kicks. Forward, back, forward and kick is a flip kick like he's in Bison. Down, forward and key is a homing key blast. Forward, back, forward and key is a push from a distance. Taioken with down, up and key. Charge back, forward and kick is an elbow into a spin kick that the AI was determined I would never finish the animation of. Beam supers are Kamehameha with back, down, forward and key, then Super Kamehameha with down, back, forward and key. His Meteor attack I pulled off relatively easy somehow. Goku for me is carried by that spinning kick. Not that his other moves were bad, but that one goes on so long and hits so many times that I loved landing it. Shame he shares Cell Jr.'s lack of theme music. So Goku is a secret character. That would never happen again. And I'm talking the only playable version of Goku being a secret character before someone brings up something like Final Bout having about 427 unlockable Gokus. But it makes sense at the time. As far as everyone knew, Goku was dead in a way that was presented as permanent at the time, and the torch had been passed to Gohan for about an hour. But Goku is also a hugely beloved and iconic character, and had been the main character for the last 9 years, so you won't want to leave him out. So having him be a hidden character you have to earn, to discover, is a good role for him at this moment in time. It does make me wonder how many other games would have had him like this if Toriyama didn't change his mind on Gohan until later. But now we have our final character in Broly, in his legendary Super Saiyan form. Charge back, forward and punch is an advancing clothesline. Down, forward and punch is a stationary clothesline. He has rapid kicks with forward, back, forward and kick. Rapid key blasts with down, back and key. An explosion from the ground with down, up and key. A force push with forward, back, forward and key. Beam supers are a key ball with back, down, forward and key. And a differently thrown ball with down, back, forward and key. His Meteor attack is a pile driver. Broly is enjoyable to play as since he's designed like an overpowered boss. I like his theme. Broly's presence in this game was specifically a request from the anime staff. either because he's Takao Koyama's favourite boy, or because they knew they were bringing him back for the next film. I fucking hate Broly. He is my least favourite Dragon Ball character, easily. I'm having trouble with where to start though. Well, how about his premise? The legendary Super Saiyan being apparently its own separate form. I actually like the idea that while the original form was talked about in Legend, Goku achieving it today made it obtainable by others because once Goku got it, it was no longer a legend. It was an actual thing that existed in front of them in the modern day, so others can figure out how it works. So just going, it's my character who's the actual legend because reasons, is wank. It's also just the precursor to the modern era of people just getting wacky unexplained Super Saiyan forms no one else has for no reason. Like Super Saiyan Rage, as if most Super Saiyan forms weren't achieved through Rage already. Vegeta's Super Saiyan slightly different shade of blue, that one's just taking the piss in terms of worthlessness. And of course, whatever the fuck that new tall hair Gohan is meant to be, I still haven't seen Superhero because of Broly. All these things trace back to this shit. Also, Broly's regular design, I actually like despite my hatred of the character. The legendary form looks dumb as shit. I feel like those who call it cool are just seeing something completely different, because anytime he moves in it, he just looks ridiculous and awkward to me. And of course, he had to keep coming back. Were he stuck to just his first film, I wouldn't have anywhere near the animosity to him that I do. Movie 10 is actually a better showing for Broly though for two reasons. First is that he gets pissed on, and I appreciate that. Second is that they broke the formula and actually had Videl kill him. Brave choice letting the popular marketing tool die from a kick to the cheek, but Videl is one of my favourites, so I appreciate it. It also exposes the blatant misogyny in this fanbase as they deny this fact, making up some story of Gohan and Goten getting help from Ghost Goku to kill him. That's dumb as shit. First off, why would they copy the previous film and have Goku break the rules of the afterlife at the end to bail the heroes out again? Secondly, the footage is right here, but people can't accept the fact because the girl breaks their power scaling, but a 7-year-old being involved in the death blow is perfectly fine. That's the point of his death. Broly symbolises this aspect of the fandom, being defeated by a girl who is said shouldn't be able to because my power scaling has his heart fucking explode. But even with that, movie 11 is his best role because it shows him for what he is, a big pile of shit. After that we have this long gap of time where Broly becomes the symbol of the aspects I hate about online Dragon Ball fandom, especially English centric. Bending over backwards to pretend any character who is a Saiyan inherently has massive worth, the obsession with imaginary numbers and strength debates. How much I like a character is directly proportional to the number I've arbitrarily imagined they are. Mid-2000s era game facts discussion. There was definitely a stereotype of the English-speaking Dragon Ball fan in the mid-2000s, and Broly encapsulated all of it. But then the franchise got on board with violently rimming him at every opportunity. It starts with the hideous Super Saiyan 3 Broly in Raging Blast. At the time, I thought this would be the lowest the franchise could sink. But this was 2009 and I was not prepared for what the next decade would bring. After Battle of Gods, Broly became the Dragon Ball equivalent to that spoiled kid at a birthday party who cries because the birthday kid got presents and he didn't. Nothing could happen without Broly being placated with something new. New forms happen, so Broly gets to do the impossible and somehow make Super Saiyan 4 ugly, along with getting a stupid snot monkey form. Super Saiyan God? Broly God. Resurrection F? Heroes gets an event called Resurrection B. Goku Black? Broly Dark. Jiren happens and manages to dethrone him as my least favourite character with his shitty arc. Broly can't even let that be. But let's back up first. As a fan, in the 2010s I'd seen episode of Bardock happen. I'd seen Dragon Ball Minus happen. I'd seen the movie retelling arcs in Super happen. Despite a list of issues, I overall enjoyed the Future Trunks arc though, and was excited by that first teaser image of the Universal Survival arc, the original before Boo was swapped to Frieza. Then that trailer came and showed a girl transform into basically Broly, and I was so annoyed in a way that made me just feel deflated. And the thing is, divorced from that form, I liked Kale as a character, but they piled all this Broly baggage on her. So you have people like me who hate Broly being reminded of him for a huge chunk of her screen time. Then you have people who hated her for not being Broly, for not being a character she should never have had anything to do with. And that's without getting into the people who pissed and cried about every woman in that arc who dared not be defeated in a single punch. But of course, that was the least of that arc's issues. The arc I hated so much, I was glad the super anime ended and I wanted it to stay gone. So my expectations for that upcoming film were rock bottom. Apparently that was still too high because then we got that announcement. Broly is getting a 4th film and is canon, not because Toriyama had the idea, but because some executive twat told him to pander to Western fandom. And of course it led to the endless, this film character should be canon next, this one should be canon next. Not because of any interesting story that could be told, but just for the affirmation of, I like this film character and now he's canon, just for the sake of it. I want to cut off the obvious comment as a response to this, but new Broly is so much better than old Broly. I don't care. It's not about how well he's written, it's that he was used at all. Nothing about the new Broly required that he be Broly. New science have been popping up all over the place. He could have been a new character and I'd have happily watched the film and I wouldn't be whining right now. But I was done with following modern Dragon Ball. I still haven't watched the film and stopped following the Super manga after the 2nd volume. I had a twinge of temptation when Super Hero was announced to have Gohan and Piccolo be the main characters. But the confirmation that Broly would appear, making it impossible to pretend his film didn't happen, turned me off. Even when Daima was announced last year, which has not aired yet but will be by the time this video goes up, I just didn't feel the excitement. With Toriyama's death, I may watch Daima if I have access to it just to see the man's final contribution to his franchise. And despite what I have said, there is one thing that could get me to watch the new Broly film. I have been watching Dragon Ball from the beginning with my youngest brother, who is seeing it for the first time. He's 19 years younger than me and was born the year before Battle of Gods came out, so he lacks my 24 years of Dragon Ball baggage. Today, as I write this, we have just seen Goku kill Piccolo Daimao, so we're a few ways off from being caught up. I own up to Resurrection F on DVD. If my brother wants to continue into Super when we get there, I will watch it with him. If he wants to continue into the Broly film, I will swallow my pride and do that for him. No one else could make me do that. I am done talking about Broly now. And that is the game's full roster. For just 10 characters, it's one of the most unique rosters in the series. Goku being hidden, a film focus, one of only 4 fighting games to not have Frieza on the roster, 4 characters made playable for the first time. That's 40% of the roster. I've also had the game completed since I covered the stories. Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 2 is a game I like. It's a massive improvement over the crap first game. It mixes up the story this early with the original take and multiple routes, but it also introduced my most hated character to the world of video games. However, I'm going to go and attract the ire of fans from the generation before me and say that I just don't like the game as much as they do. I first played this in 2007 when the newest games were Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and Super Dragon Ball Z. Even if we ignore arena fighters and go traditional, it's hard not to go from Super DBZ to this and not feel a downgrade. Its impressiveness was just lost on me at the time. Plus, Hyperdimension was standing out so much more, another game I haven't played since 2007 though. But now it's time for the ranking, and this one I had an easier place to start with. Fellow licensed Super Nintendo fighting game Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Fighting Edition. I enjoyed that game more, so I just moved down a little bit. In the end, my affection for Dragon Ball edged it over Vanilla Street Fighter 2, so it wound up in 80th place, below Shantae Risky's Revenge. If we just compare it to other Dragon Ball games, that puts it in second so far, below the first Budokai, but above the first arcade game. For those of you who just wanted me to shut up about Broly, it's all out now, so I'll be talking about him less in his later appearances. The next Dragon Ball fighting game in release order is Buu Retsuden on the Mega Drive, which I have already recorded and is planned for a few months from now. Let's just say, if you're a Dragon Ball fan and you somehow like listening to me talk about it, look forward to episode 59.